So I don't even know if this is even gonna get out to anybody. I don't even know if anybody even cares. This whole system of family courts, CPS, police, the government, it's so flawed. I've had my whole life taken from me. All because a deranged maniac likes to call CPS and the police on people and manipulate a 15-year-old child to make a false allegation because she knew that child was angry because we had gotten under her because she was doing inappropriate things, trying to have sex with boys, going out, showing her ass, naked pictures, almost killing 2 of her friends for getting drunk, crying rape already in school twice. So she fed on that. CPS came into my home February 18th, a couple of days after my husband had slapped my daughter for being disrespectful. We were going to close the case because a report had came in after my husband had went to jail from my sister saying that my husband was molesting my daughter. And my daughter denied it. When they questioned her, she denied it. She said, no, it didn't happen. So they ghost me for a whole month. They don't even come by, call, nothing. They don't leave me no paperwork. They don't leave a paper trail that they were even there. They're the only ones that have the information showing that they were there. And they're corrupt. They put whatever they want in there. They don't record nothing. They don't tape nothing. When they interrogate these children, they make up their own words, make up their own allegations, and then nobody gets to question these kids but CPS and their attorney. And I just got told by my attorney that the CPS attorneys don't lie. The CPS attorneys are good people. They don't lie. That's bullshit. They're the biggest liars out there. So the CPS ghosts me for a whole month. When they come back on March 17th, my sister had taken my daughter the day after she bribed her by taking her to the mall and spending $400 on this child to the Noah Project here in Abilene, Texas, to make a false outcry. Well, even whenever the CPS came on March 17th to question my daughter, she says, oh no, it didn't happen. That happened a long time ago, but everything's fine now. He don't drink. And they used that as evidence. So they told me they were going to take my kids, and I told them, no, you're not taking my kids. You cannot touch my kids without a warrant or a court order, so you get off my property. And then the CPS lady even told me not to remove my husband from the home because he might need to fill out paperwork. She told me that, but now she's saying she did it. So they ghost me for another month. They still haven't left me no paperwork, still haven't left me no paper trail showing that they were there. They show up on April 3rd with a supposed court order that they don't even show me, with 10 cops in my front yard. They're intimidating me. They're threatening me. I wanted so bad to just take my kids and just go. When I refused because they didn't show me a court order, they went and got a writ. A writ. I didn't even know what a writ was at the time. And they show up, and I see them coming, and I go to run in my house to protect my kids, and the cop tells me, the chief of police of Stanford, Texas tells me, if you take another step, I'm going to shoot you. So I was in fear of my life. And then I tried to tell them not to take my children. Just leave my children alone, leave my family alone. But they forced their way in my house with 8 cops and 2 CPS workers. And my oldest son, who was about to be 18 in a couple months, says, you're not taking me a fucking place. I'm not going a fucking place with you. And the chief of police again tells my son that they'll arrest him if he doesn't go. that he either goes or he gets arrested. I got overwhelmed. I passed out while I was being treated by paramedics. They took my kids without even showing me any paperwork that they had. After they took my kids, they handed the court order and the writ to my husband's nephew. There was no allegations against my boys whatsoever. My boys didn't make no outcries while they was in there. They needed to justify the fact of why they took my boys. Because they only wanted to take my daughter to begin with, and I told them no. And the investigator, Kiana Alexander, with the Abilene Child Protective Services, threw a temper tantrum like a little 2-year-old, decided she was going to take all my children at that point. So they took my kids. And to justify the fact that they had my boys, they tried to say that one of my boys made an outcry saying that their daddy hit them or something, I don't know, or of some sort of abuse, which wasn't true. But nobody wants to see that these people are liars, they're manipulators, they're deceivers. They think they're such good people. Oh, they only remove children from bad families. That's not true. Then they try to tell you, oh, we don't get funding. They get funding for every child that they remove from a home. These foster homes, they're not good people. All they care about is the money. So they took my kids April 3rd, 2020. 21 days later, they returned my kids on a monitored return, telling me that I don't have custody of my children. I'm basically just a foster parent to my own children because they have managing conservatorship, because they lied to the judge about evidence they had. They claimed they based everything off of a piece of evidence now it just miraculously disappeared. It just miraculously disappeared. That's how they got the court order from the judge. But my attorney won't tell anybody. She won't step up and tell the judge nothing. I've tried calling governors. I've tried calling the mayors. I've tried calling everybody. But I got my babies back, my boys back, April 21st, 21 days after they were taken from me. On the monitored return, they were supposed to set me up services when they took the kids. They didn't. They never set me up services. They never did anything they were supposed to do. They would come by once a week, harass me. My boys would tell them everything was fine. They would go away. But the caseworkers never called me. They never contacted me. They never did anything. They never set up services. So I started doing the services myself because I thought that they would take my kids if I did it. Come to find out, the services weren't even for my boys. My boys had nothing to do with this whatsoever. Now they're trying to find a way. Now they're trying to justify the reason why they have my boys and have control over my boys. So, we go to court August 7th, and the judge tells them that I don't have to do the services because they did not get this. They done me wrong. Because they were supposed to set up the services 4 months ago and they didn't do it. I was 2 months. October 5th, I was supposed to have the case closed on my kids and they knew this. This whole time my husband's homeless, being accused of a crime. They went behind his back and got an indictment with no evidence. They had no evidence. They went behind his back with only one side, the prosecutor and the CPS. Brought it to a grand jury. How is that fair? We weren't even told that there was going to be charges pressed. We weren't even informed. We weren't even let know. They're saying that he was indecent exposure with the child, no contact, and indecency with the child with exposure and indecency with the child, no contact. My daughter's accusations were that he grabbed her boob and her butt, and that while she was asleep in her dark, pitch black room, that he would go into her room and masturbate. Come on, people. The sad part is, that's the exact thing that happened to me as a kid, and my daughter knew this. My sister knew this. They did all this stuff. My sister did this to destroy me. My daughter was angry with me because I grounded her and took away her social media. I wouldn't let her go out. I wouldn't let her do nothing. She was 15, and now she's in a foster home. She's wearing little bitty booty shorts, half shirts that show half of her boobs, shaking her ass all over TikTok. And not once in the 15 years that she was alive did she ever have depression or anxiety. Not once in the 15 years that she was alive that she ever needed glasses. Not once in the 15 years that she was alive did she ever need braces as a medical emergency. Now, all of a sudden, she has depression, anxiety, and nightmares. Now, all of a sudden, she has to wear glasses. And I had just taken her in January, and she had 20/20 vision. And I'd taken her to the dentist, and the dentist said that it was more of a cosmetic thing and it wasn't an emergency. She didn't need braces, but she's milking the system. People don't believe that kids can do that, but they can. They're just as manipulative and lying as the adults. My sister put her claws into my daughter. My sister lost her own daughter because she abuses her kids. But guess what? When CPS goes to my sister's house and there's knee-high trash, you have to find a trail to get through her house. There's animal feces everywhere. But CPS goes to her house and they don't do nothing. Her boys have made outcries of abuse and they don't do nothing. She calls the police. The police even admitted, I have a video, the police even admitted that she's a nuisance and she calls falsely on everybody, but they won't do nothing. My constitutional rights were violated. Just Friday. On August 21st, my husband shows up at my door. He'd been homeless. He hadn't had anything to eat. He was dirty. He looked sickly. And he's innocent. He's an innocent person. I didn't know what to do. He showed up at my mom's house. I was visiting my mom. So I snuck him in the house because I was worried about him. He didn't even know he had warrants. My sister knew he had warrants before we did. We didn't even know until she called the police saying he was over here and he wasn't even over here. She called every week saying he was over here and he wasn't even over here. He showed up Friday, August 21st. So I let him in to lay his head down somewhere and get something to eat, and then he was going to go turn himself in. He never made contact with my boys. My boys didn't even know they were here. And now all of a sudden CPS is saying, because they took my boys again just Monday, and they're saying, oh, well, the boys said this and the boys said that. I want video proof. I want recordings. I want proof. Y'all are liars. So the state police show up Friday, the same day. My sister, she'll sit there, she'll go down the alley, she'll sit there and watch my mom's house. Every time she sees my car, she's calling the police. Or CPS, or whoever she can call. The state police shows up at my door. And they ask for me. This is the exact conversation. My little brother opens the door. Can we speak to Cynthia Guajardo, the state police guy says. And I go to the door and I said, that's me. Can I help you? And he says, can we come in and search your home? I said, this isn't my home. I don't have legal rights to allow you into the home. I said, the homeowner is not home. And then he tells me, well, Sam, talking about my husband, his driver's license shows this address, which links him to this address. And I said, that is not true. I said, my husband doesn't have a driver's license. I said, he has an ID and it's linked to Washington State. The next thing I know, I'm being pushed, shoved hard. Damn near flew across the room because they shoved me so hard. They come in and they search the house and they find him. And they bring him out. And then they tell me they're arresting me for hindering the apprehension of a known felon. Well, first of all, you didn't even ask me if he was here. Had you asked me if he was here, I would have told you yes, because I wouldn't have put myself in that position to be taken away from my babies. So I went to jail with a third-degree felony charge over some illegal search and seizure with no warrants. They didn't have no search warrant. They didn't even present a warrant. And the warrants that are out for my husband don't even have this address on it. They were going off of a so-called tip from my sister, who claimed that he'd been in the backyard of my mom's house running around for 2 days in and out of a shed. So I get to jail, and they run me through a process. Yeah, I'm irritated. I'm frustrated. You damn right, because I'm being falsely arrested. And then they asked to have me go see some Betty Hardwick chick. And I tell her, they asked me, are you going to hurt yourself? I said, no. I said, I don't have no intentions of hurting myself. I said, the only way I would hurt myself or take my own life is if y'all took what kept me living, which is my children. And so they tell me, well, we need you to sign this contract. And I said, contract, what is it? Next thing I know, I'm being snatched up out of my chair and thrown into this other chair, strapped down so tightly, my ankles, my arms, my legs, my wrists, my hands, my face, everything swelled up because they were cutting circulation off. I'm bruised. I'm bruised very badly, all up and down my arms. You can see the bruises. Of course, this was Friday, so some of the bruises are going away, but my wrists hurt. They're tender. They left me in that chair for 4 hours for asking a question. 30 minutes in, I told them I have to go to the bathroom, and I can't hold it because I have bladder problems. They would not let me up to the bathroom. They left me in my own urine for 4 hours. The mistreatment didn't end after that either. Finally, I got booked. I was there for over 24 hours. They refused to let I cried out for an attorney. I cried out for medical treatment. They refused it all. So I finally get bailed out Saturday. I come home to my boys. And then Monday comes along. My sister calls Adult Protective Services on my mom. They show up at the house. They're not even asking. They only ask my mom, are you starved? And my mom says no. I mean, they were just outright bogus allegations. I mean, they were just extreme to the point of even the dumbest person in the world wouldn't believe them. And the whole time, my caseworker, Kirsten Hurst, is standing behind this adult protective lady, doesn't even introduce herself. I'd never met her. This is the 5th caseworker I've had in the entire case since the case has been going on. She doesn't introduce herself. She doesn't let me know who she is or anything. She stays in the shadows. She was introduced as a colleague. So I ask them, are you taking my kids? And they tell me no. They prove that the allegations were false. So they leave. They leave. 10 minutes later, they call me as I'm going to pick up my 18-year-old son from work. Tell me you need to bring the kids back because we're taking them. So now they've got my babies under false pretenses again. They said that my kids had contact with my husband. They never had contact with my husband. Having contact with somebody and them being in the same house without even knowing and not having contact, that's a different thing. You have contact. What is the definition of contact? Actually having contact, whether it be visual, physical, or vocally, having contact with that person. That is contact. You can't have contact with someone when you don't even know they're there. So they took my babies again. And then they call me yesterday. They call me yesterday and they tell me that they don't have the means to provide what my children need while in their care, that I have to do it because legally I'm obligated to take care of my children. Are you serious? You took them kids from a home where they were provided for. They had everything they needed, the love. They had everything, and you took them from the home. But yet you can't provide for them. The fuck's wrong with you? You don't take kids away from homes and then tell them they can't provide for them. Now they're saying that my boys are saying that they had contact, which is bullshit. And I told my attorney, and my attorney tells me that CPS attorney won't lie. Really? Look at the news. Do some research. Look at how many other CPS attorneys lied. You can't, them bitches lie every fucking day. People, this is injustice. This is unconstitutional. What the fuck is the point of having a constitution if every fucking government agency can just come in and stomp all over it? And then they tell you why you in jail. You don't have rights. The Constitution don't matter to you. It don't matter if you know your rights or not. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it. They're just gonna sit up there on their little pedestals and watch the little man fucking burn and suffer. My kids are suffering in a home away from their mama because of some bullshit, and they know it. And nobody would help me. I've called the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. I left him a message. I called the mayor of Abilene. I get an answer machine that's full. I've called news stations. I've called everybody. I'm making an outcry of help, and I can't even get it. The system is fucked. There's no freedom here. There's no justice. There's no constitution. It's all a bunch of bullshit. And unless you have money, you're fucked. Tell me, I raised my kids. My youngest is 13 years old. My oldest is 18. Never once have they cried out for abuse, ever. They've always been taken care of. I could never provide them the riches and all the luxury stuff, but they had love. They had what they needed. And these people come and take it away just because they can, because they have some fucking badge. The Constitution states that the government cannot interfere in parenting. They cannot interfere. The Constitution states that. The 14th Amendment. They're not allowed to interfere in the raising of children. CPS is a scam. They are a bullshit scam. Police departments nowadays, they're supposed to serve and protect and uphold the Constitution. Every day they violate it. They act under the color of law every day, and they violate the constitutional rights of the people. There's no such thing as due process. There's no such thing as justice. It's all a fucking illusion that they want you to think you have these rights just so they can go stomp on them. Because if we had these rights, these fuckers couldn't do this to us. But I'm telling you people, you watch out for Brittany Webb. She's the supervisor for the 2Engage now. It's 2Engage. Andy Marion is her supervisor. He was my sister's juvenile probation officer. The same sister who's doing this bullshit to me. Tell me that ain't a conflict of interest. How was my sister finding out all the information before me? She knows everything because they tell her. And then you got Kirsten Hurst, who's my new caseworker with the CPS. They're heartless, soulless creatures. Justine Morales. She resigned. She didn't resign. She probably saw a flaw in there and was trying to bring it up, and they fired her. And then there was 2 other people. I don't even know their damn names. It's just ridiculous, people. We can't even live our lives in our own homes. Somebody needs to do something. Somebody needs to stand up for the little people. We get out there, we rally, we protest, but what good does it do? What good does it do? Who is really hearing us? Who is listening? That's the problem. Nobody's listening. Unless you have money, don't nobody want to hear what you gotta say. Now is the time to make a stand. I'm asking everybody to stand up, rise up, fight for the Constitution, fight for your rights, fight for your freedoms, fight for your civil liberties, fight for your right to live as you should be able to live in the United States as an American citizen. Don't let these people run all over you. You fight.